Introduction to Vectors, Constructions and Operations. In this lecture, I will discuss the basic definition of a vector along with the components which constitute a vector and the significance of a vector in terms of its magnitude and its direction, because we know when we compare a vector with a scalar, that a scalar has only magnitude, no directions, but a vector has both the magnitude and directions. Formally, a vector can be defined as if a particle or a person moves from one position to another in any coordinate system, each displacement is represented graphically by arrows, as you can see over here in this diagram. The tip of each arrow represents directions. So here this vector is along this direction, this one this one in this direction, and this one is this direction. So the tip of each vector represents directions of the displacement, and the length represent a rate of change of some physical quantity. In the case of a person, if we consider that a person moving along this direction, so you can imagine that a person starts his journey or her journey from his home, which is the origin, and he traveled towards the airport along these particular directions with a velocity or with a speed along this particular direction, and thereafter he took his flight, and the flight take off along this direction, and after that he landed through this direction. So in this kind of motion, if you want to describe the motion of a person from one location to the another location, then maybe the length of this vector is representing its velocity, which is the rate of change of the space with respect to time. So this is along this particular direction and horizontally, and this is along this particular direction, and this one along this particular direction. Finally, his movement you can track by representing another vector, that means the total displacement or the net displacement of that person from the origin. If he moves at this position, then you can draw another vector to represent his net displacement and along which direction his net displacement takes place. Therefore, the arrowhead of a vector represents the direction of the displacement, and the length of the vector or the length of the arrow represents the magnitude of some rate of change of some physical quantity. In this case, as I have considered it is a movement of a person, that rate of change represents the velocity of that person. But in any other case, you may consider that, or if you want to examine some physical property of some particle or some event which changes with the direction, then you can measure or you can represent the length of the arrow along the particular direction as the rate of change of that physical quantity associated with that particular event. Therefore, you have to keep it in your mind that a vector basically represents some physical event in three-dimensional space. The time variable may be associated with the vector, as I have given this example that the movement of a person. So basically the movement of a person in this three-dimensional space, here you can see the three-dimensional space is represented by these axes, this x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. So the person moves in this three-dimensional space initially along this direction denoted by the vector a, then along this direction denoted by the vector b, and thereafter along the direction of vector c. But his velocity, which is the rate of change of the position, is associated with the time. So time can be related with a vector, but a vector is related with the three-dimensional spatial coordinate system. So it is associated with the space, directly with the space coordinate system, not with the time coordinate system. The time coordinate system can be associated with that. So I will discuss when I will discuss the electromagnetic wave. There you can find the another coordinate system of the time will be associated with that. But as you can see in this particular example also, the rate of change of that person is relating the time with the space coordinate system, but the movement of that person, that means along which directions the person is moving, is basically represented by a vector, and its length represents what with which speed the person is moving along that particular direction. As a vector represents the movement in the three-dimensional space, so therefore in this case, as you can see, the vector A represents the movement of that person along the horizontal directions, but in order to reach this particular point, initially the person moves up to a x distance along the x directions, and thereafter a y distance along the y direction, and their intersection point is this point to which the person reached finally. Therefore, when you are indicating the net displacement of the person by a vector A, so this A consists of two components. One is the x component and another is the y component. Similarly, in the second case, when, as I told, the person took his flight and the flight is moving along this particular direction, so that movement of the flight is represented by another second vector B, and in this case B moves both in three dimensions. That means in order to reach at this particular point, the aeroplane first need to move up to this point along the y direction, then up to this distance along the x direction, and parallelly it went upward direction along the z direction. So z direction is the upward direction I am considering over here. So combining all these three directions, the aeroplane finally reached this point, and thereafter the plane landed by following this particular direction. Thus, each vector has three components: along the x direction, along the y direction, and along the z direction. But in this case, since the person moves horizontally, therefore it has only two components: x component and y component, because before taking off his flight he cannot move along the upward direction that I am considering. So in this case, the z component of this a vector is 0. On the other hand, all of these three components exist for this vector b. Thus, the a vector can be represented in terms of its component, as it has ax component along the x direction. So x cap represents the unit vector along the x direction, along this direction. So the magnitude of this x cap is 1, and it represents the directions along the direction of the x axis, positive x axis, and along that direction the magnitude of the vector is ax. So basically these two represents another vector, and of that vector this ax is the magnitude and x cap represents the direction. So along the x direction, positive x direction, this this vector moves ax distance, or the length of the vector a is ax along the positive x direction. Similarly, along the positive y direction, that is represented by this unit vector y cap, the length of the a is ay. But along the z direction, since there is no movement, so the z component is 0. So in this way we can write a vector. Otherwise we can write a vector as shown over here using this parenthesis. Similarly, the vector b can also be represented as shown over here, but in this case all the x component, y component, and the z component exist for the vector b, and the z cap represents the unit vector along the z direction, that means along this direction. So the unit vector means it has the magnitude of 1 but it is directed along the z direction. So y cap means its magnitude is unity and it is directed along the y direction, and x cap means its magnitude is unity and it is directed along the x direction. In a similar way, b can also be represented in this using this notation as I have shown in my earlier slide. Now come to the vector c. As you can see that the vector c is the direction along which the plane uh, tried to land, and in order to reach this particular point the aeroplane has to move minus cx distance from these initial positions, because this is the positive directions and this is the negative x direction. So it moved, although it is may not be clear in this two-dimensional picture, but I am assuming it is moving along the negative x direction for a bit which is equivalent to cx minus cx. cy along the y direction it moves the cy distance, because as you can see, if you draw a perpendicular on this y-axis, so from this initial position which was at this position, that means this is the y position for this position, for when the flight was at the top position, so the corresponding y position was this one. Now as it reaches this point which has the corresponding y position, this point, so it is along the positive y direction, so that is why cy is positive. And with respect to the initial position, the flight came down to this position to its destination, and which is along the negative z direction, so that is why it is represented by minus cz, and cz is the magnitude of the length of the vector. The magnitude and direction of vector. In my earlier slide, as you have seen that a vector can be represented by its or decomposing its each and every component, that means in terms of its x component, y component and z component. A vector can also be represented by its magnitude, product of its magnitude and a unit vector. Now when you are writing a vector in terms of its each and every component, then the unit vector represents the directions of the vector along the x direction, y direction and z direction. On the other hand, in this type of notations where you are writing a vector in terms of its magnitude and a overall unit vector, so this unit vector represents the direction for this a vector. This n cap a represents the directions along this direction. That means as the original vector is shown, not along each of its components. Directly it represents the directions of the vector itself. Similarly, the n cap b, which is the direction or unit vector associated with the vector b, it represents the directions along this. And its magnitude part, this magnitude of b represents the length of the b, and for c it represents the length of the c, the magnitude, and similarly similar concept is applicable for the vector r. As you can see from these two diagrams, where this vector a is represented by both of its magnitude and its unit vector. This unit vector represents the directions along the vector itself, whereas this magnitude represents the length of this vector, as you can see over here. And similarly it is for the b. Following similar concept, each and every vector can be represented by the product of its magnitude part and the unit vector associated with that particular vectors. In this case, this direction represents n cap c, and in this case this direction represents that n cap r, whereas their length is represented by the magnitude itself. Now the question may arise, then what is the relation of this magnitude with their components? The relation is very simple. The magnitude is nothing but the root over of the square of each of every component of the vectors. So for the vector a, ax square plus ay square, because already we know that z component was 0. So that is why only ax and ay are representing the magnitude of the vector. But in case of the vector b, all of three components exist, so that is why root over of bx square plus by square and bz square representing the magnitude of the vector b. On the other hand, the unit vector associated with each of every vector can be found by dividing the original vector by its magnitude, because from the original definition you can see that a vector is nothing but a product of its magnitude and its unit vector. So therefore from this equation the unit vector associated with that particular vector can also be found by simply dividing the original vector by its magnitude. And for the vector c and r, similar concept are applicable. And from this equation you can easily prove that the magnitude of the unit vector is always 1, because if you take mod of this unit vector you will get mod of that one, and that will be 1. Here is a simple mathematical derivation for the magnitude of a unit vector. So this is the basic definition of a vector, where the magnitude part is represented by its component square, root over of its component square. So if you want to find the unit vector, just divide the original vector by its magnitude. So the original vector can be written as this one, where the z component is 0 for our vector a, as I have assumed, and the magnitude part we know, and I have written over here. Now take the magnitude or mod of this unit vector. So that already I have shown you in my previous slide. So this is the magnitude of the unit vector, and now if you take root over of all of its component, because the component of the unit vector is right now ax divided by root over x square plus ay square along the x direction, and along the y direction the component of the unit vector of a is nothing but ay divided by root over ax square plus ay square, and along the z direction it is 0. So now if you take the magnitude of the unit vector, then the root over of the its component square, all of its component square, will give you the 1. So such kind of derivation or proof can also be applicable for these vector b, for vector c or vector r, or any kind of vector. So magnitude of the unit vector is always 1, but its directions represents the direction of the vector itself. Whereas the individual component of a unit vector is again representing the directions of the unit vector separately along the x-axis, along the y-axis, and along the z-axis. But combining all of its component, when a unit vector is formed, then that unit vector solely defines the direction of the original vector itself.